Welcome to the INFOWARS Nightly News. I'm David Knight. It's July 10th, 2014. Now, the INFOWARS crew is still in Murrieta, California, and they posted this report from there. A pro-amnesty group of socialists are flooding Murrieta City Hall. Now, these are people that are coming from all over the state. It's not too hard to find socialists in California. All you have to do is swing a cat and you'll hit a couple of them. But these people are coming in with signs saying, "Open the borders, Freedom Socialist Party, immigrants welcome here," among other pro-amnesty supporters. Now, when they were there earlier in the week, the people that were there supporting amnesty identified themselves as anarcho-communists. These people are identifying themselves as socialists. They're going into a community that is concerned about how they're going to be supported, and they're not living in that community, attending that town council meeting. Now, one of the things we need to think about when we look at the compassion side of this, and of course, that's the side that's being sold to us by the media, by the Obama administration, and yes, it is a situation where some people are in very dire straits. But I can tell you that when you go to adopt children, whether we're adopting children or adopting teenagers or adopting dreamers up to the age of 31, or whether we're adopting full-grown adults in this country, I know from someone who's adopted children in the past that there's a vetting process when you adopt someone into your family. First, they want to know, are you able to support that person? They also want to know, are you going to abuse that person? Do you have a history of abuse? Is it going to be a safe situation for them in your home? Those are situations that are not being vetted for these people who are coming in, for the children who are coming in, of course. There's no concern about whether or not we can support them. And of course, they know that we can't support them. It's part of a Cloward and Piven program. The socialists said, this is a fight for good education, good health care, good jobs, and a decent wage for all people. That's something we can all admire. But how has the socialist utopia in South America worked out for them? Of course, you look at Venezuela's Hugo Chavez, and we see from just last year, we see Bloomberg bragging about how Chavez has provided a 681% return on investment for people like Goldman Sachs. It's boosting their profits. You know, they say that the capitalists will sell the rope that hangs them. It turns out that the bankers will pull the strings of the socialists who confiscate property from other people and promise this workers' paradise. Look at this quote. This is from Oppenheimer Funds, and this is, again, about a year and a half ago. Chavez hasn't done a lot of good for his country, but he has the objective to service the bonds, in other words, the banker debt. Our interests are aligned, and as they also point out in that article, he's nationalized farms and energy companies. He put on price caps on products like toothpaste and toilet paper. Today, we have people in Venezuela who can't get food, can't get water, can't get medicine without leaving their country, going into neighboring countries, coming into our country. And again, looking at this article from a year and a half ago, they said Chavez's socialist policies have led to shortages of everything from electricity to sugar and beef and fueled the world's third highest inflation rate. In other words, Cloward and Piven. And of course, they were socialist dreamers. Now, what's the other aspect of this? What about actually making sure that the children, that the young adults, that the older adults are not getting abused as we adopt them into our country, into our family? Take a look at this story from Breitbart. Baylor professor identifies the bodies of illegals who die crossing the border. Now, this professor from Baylor has found several dead children in the Texas wilderness, and she says that doesn't tell the whole story of how dangerous it is for these thousands of unaccompanied children. Drug cartels, human traffickers preying on these children are beating, abusing, and sexually molesting the youngsters as they try to pass over the border. We just heard stories of little boys and little girls forced by these drug dealers to cut off the fingers or cut off the ears of other little boys and girls in order to extort money from their families. These children are told if you don't cut off the fingers or ears of a different child, you'll be shot. Now, Senator Cruz has pointed out that all of this is the direct consequences of President Obama's lawlessness. In other words, he's incentivizing reckless child endangerment. Whether these people are sending their children over unaccompanied or whether they are accompanying them, this is a very dangerous area and dangerous activities that they're engaged in. This is not the way to take care of this crisis. And of course, the crisis in their countries has been predominantly fueled by these bankers who are looting their countries and by the drug wars that we've foisted upon them. But is Obama concerned about this? He's here in Austin, just a couple of hundred miles from the border, he couldn't be bothered to go down and look at the condition of these kids. He's not concerned about their medical condition. He's not concerned about who brought them here, who they're going to be turned over to, or their condition right now, their health condition. No, he goes to fundraisers. He goes to parties in Colorado where he laughs it up and shoots pool, drinks beer. And we see even when he's meeting with Governor Perry here in Texas, in this meeting, he's laughing throughout. In all the pictures, he's laughing it up. And Perry says, I don't think he heard anything I had to say. Now look at this top picture, the one, scroll up to the one right above that. Do you notice this guy sitting right across the table from Obama? The guy with the blue tie, that guy right there. Look familiar?
As long as they make their statement in keeping with the law, this is America, everybody's entitled to an opinion. But if they break the law or impede the care of these children, then we'll enforce the law.
That's the judge in Dallas that had the ruling about how they were going to move these immigrants into an abandoned school that was paid for by the local taxpayers. And then he went door to door to threaten people, to say, yo, you can come up, you can talk about your free speech, address your grievances, show up as demonstrators, but we have laws and you better not break them. And of course, Dallas has very stringent laws, as we've talked about before here on the Nightly News, about free speech. They don't like it very much there. So if you show up and intimidate people door to door as a judge, what's that get you? Well, it literally gets you a place across the table from Obama. Now, our INFOWARS crew took to the streets today at another event that Obama went to where he was talking about the economy and took the pulse of the people on the street as they were waiting to hear him speak. Here's that report.
I'm standing in front of the Paramount Theater here in Austin, Texas, where His Highness President Barack Obama is headlining. Now, in response to his critics who wondered why he wasn't at the border while he's in Texas, he said a visit to the border would be nothing more than theater. And of course, the irony is not lost on the fact that his name is on the marquee at the Paramount Theater as he's here to address his adoring fans. Well, we're gonna go check with some of these people, some of whom have waited since midnight trying to get tickets to see the big show. Are you super pumped to be in the presence of the Lord and Savior Obama?
Yeah. You know, it's not every day you see the president.
Yes, I am, but I'm hoping to get them in too. I really want her to go. I think she'll appreciate it.
No, I think it's more about just seeing the president, and I've never seen a president before.
How do you feel knowing that you might still not make it past the rope?
Well, if that happens, we would not be very happy.
It'll be a waste of time, but it'll be at least worth watching.
We heard people actually stayed overnight. Were there overnight?
Yeah, they did.
What about you guys?
We did that, actually.
You were there. What time did you get there?
Midnight? Yeah, around there.
Midnight the night before, so they could start doling out tickets at 8:30. So you guys are visiting from Europe?
Exactly, from Switzerland.
So this is super exciting for you to go see the President of the United States of America?
Indeed, yes, indeed.
Kinda.
I gotta warn you, I work at Fox around the corner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so if you had one shot to ask the president anything, let's just say he goes all mavericky and rogue and lets people ask him a question, what would be your one question?
I'd like to do something about student loan debt.
I would probably just go mute and not be able to talk.
Is he going for a third term? I know he can't, but.
Would you like him to? Would you vote for him?
I would. Yes, I would. I would vote for him. It'd be a toss between Clinton and Obama.
I think I would be asking him about what he plans to do for the next 2 years of his presidency. How is he going to handle the issues that we're seeing with the gridlock? He's doing the best he can, obviously, but there has to be a breaking point.
Why are you continuing the drone rally?
Wow, good question.
Say, hey, can we hang out later?
Do you want to hang out with the president later?
Yes.
How long have you been staying in Hawaii? Probably.
How long? Are you into Hawaii? Or?
Yeah.
Do you think it's weird that people like hail the president as sort of a kingly figure?
It is something you have to get used to. I mean, I can understand it if he's such an important person for the state, but if you come from a system where it isn't that way, it takes getting used to.
We have people protesting the fact that he is here and not other places. What do you guys think about him being here, and maybe there's some other things going on that like maybe.
Well, there are always places that want the president to be there that require leadership, but he's got to do the rounds. It's his country. He's got to see all the parts of it.
Well, it's our country. Were you surprised with what he said last night about the meeting between him and Perry and where he stands on what's happening at the border?
Yeah, it sounds like it's politics. They're using it as a political wedge issue. He could overturn the policy and start doing something about it now. He doesn't have to wait for Congress.
This is not Obama saying, hey, Mexicans, come over the border. He is saying we are a country that allows people to come and request asylum.
He really should talk about immigration. There's a lot of people from Latin America waiting for something, and I think there was a lot of time that people is really waiting for someone.
It's not about being somewhere, it's about taking the right actions and knowing what's going on.
Do you think that he is taking the right actions?
I'm not really up to date on what he's done on the border, so.
My friends, Alex Jones here to tell you about some of the most important information concerning you and your family's health. Radiation levels have more than doubled in the last 60 years in the Northern Hemisphere from all of the nuclear testing and radiological accidents. Radioactive contamination is now in most of the food supply. There's only two ways to avoid this. Move south of the equator or properly protect your thyroid with nascent iodine. Looking to protect my family, I've done deep research. Nascent iodine is the purest, cleanest, absolute best form of iodine to protect yourself and your family. It's made right here in the USA, completely non-GMO. I searched out the best quality and now have developed a double-strength form of nascent iodine, exclusively available at INFOWARSLife.com. Nascent iodine is on record as one of the only safe ways to detox from fluoride poisoning. Survival Shield Nascent Iodine. Secure your super high-quality nascent iodine today at INFOWARSLife.com. That's INFOWARSLife.com. From the water table to our soils to the atmosphere itself, our world is becoming more and more toxic each and every day. But it's not just the air outside that's toxic. Indoor air has been shown to have 2 to 5 times higher concentrations of pollutants than even outdoor air. And most Americans spend 90% of their time inside using toxic chemicals within their homes. There are more than 42 million smokers in the United States. Well over 1,000 types of mold and mildew linked to numerous conditions. And don't forget the fact that 6 million Americans live with pets they're allergic to as well. When I began to research these statistics, it was clear to me it was time to start cleansing my lungs in order to combat the toxic environment that we cannot escape, but that we can fight back against. Made with organic and wild cultivated herbs and manufactured in the USA, the new INFOWARS Life Lung Cleanse is here in a convenient spray bottle that can be brought with you throughout any toxic environment. Now available exclusively at INFOWARSLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.
Welcome back. Now, if you remember a couple of months ago, we reported on a Wyoming landowner. This is a guy who owned about 8 acres, and he built a private pond on those 8 acres for his animals and for his children to use as a swimming pool. And the EPA began using him as a test case for new powers that they're giving themselves. Now they've gone one more step further, and this is a story that's from the Washington Times. Power grab. EPA wants to garnish the wages of polluters. Now understand how this has evolved. First, they jumped onto private land. They've never regulated private land before. This is water that is not coming onto his property or going off of his property. This is unprecedented in that case. The next thing they did was they levied a $75,000 per day fine on the man, and they don't report that accurately in the article. They say that they slapped a $75,000 fine on him. No, that's per day. They're charging him $75,000. They also say that they're accused of violating their own rules, a power currently used by agencies like the